Greetings, free thinkers. Welcome to the Hoggcast. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing fine. I certainly am. Okay, what do we have for you on today's episode? We have for you a couple of clips to watch in regards to the England versus Hungary football/soccer game that was held the other day, in which the England footballers, overpaid, pompous, entitled so-and-sos that they are, as usual, bent the knee, figuratively and literally, to the you-know-what organisations, radical wokeism. They bent the knee, as usual. Now, I'm showing you this because an incident occurred. These fans in this section here are largely the Hungarians, okay? And here you can see a banner, and it has no kneeling. That's essentially what this banner means. You've got a person kneeling with a cross through it. No kneeling, right? This seemed to provoke this and something else. It's hard to ascertain what exactly happened in the seconds after this, but this seemed to provoke the police, the British police, who then used their batons to hit some Hungarian football fans. And as a quick aside, you notice how all of the regular people, with some exceptions, don't have face coverings, whereas all of the people in the high-vis either have them on or have them down by their neck. Look, there's another one with it on. It's a kind of you need to comply mentality. It's a kind of, look, I'm doing it, so you should too. I've got the high visibility jacket. I'm more important than you. So let's get into this clip. We'll find out what the hell's going on here, hopefully. If you haven't yet, though, please like the video. If you find it informative, subscribe to the Hoggcast, hit the notification bell, and share the video around. We also have a membership scheme now. We have 6 amazing members. You could join too if you want to. If you want to help with the running costs of running a YouTube channel, there's a join button down below and a link in the description. I'm humbled that I even have 6 people who are willing to become members, and they value my content as much as they do. I'm honoured and humbled. Anyway, let's go.
On here at Wembley, you can see the banner amongst the Hungarian fans saying no to taking the knee, that just before kickoff. And then a few minutes into the game, this happened down to our right in the Hungarian end. Some of the police using their batons and then punches being thrown by the Hungarians. And it lasted a couple of moments, a couple of minutes really, and then it appeared as if the police retreating down the stairwell. Now there were reports before the game there were going to be more police on duty here this evening, but the fact that the police retreated in the way they did does beg the question, were there enough of them here?
Well, were there enough of them there for what? What business did they have hitting the Hungarian fans? To hit someone, like, especially with a baton, with a tool, it takes emotion. Do you know what I mean? You've really got to think about doing that. You've got to want to hit. You've got to be very secure in your sense that you have the right to strike someone with a baton in order to do it, right? Why could they be emotional, I wonder? Could it be... Remember what I said in my open, if you didn't skip through my open, how with very few exceptions on both sides, the majority of people in the audience here, the Hungarian section, do not have face coverings on, and the majority of the high visibility jacket, I think I'm better than you type people up here, the stewards, that's what I think they're called, stewards, and the police themselves, all have them on, right? So there's obviously some sort of ideological difference happening here. You know that the left, the woke state, do not think you have the right to question them, and this is blatant defiance. To put this up, it goes further than just this image. As you know, an image speaks 1,000 words, but hear me out here. In order for the Hungarians, this was live TV. In order for the Hungarians to do that, they must have known that the English would definitely bend the knee. That's why they brought that. That's why they went to the trouble of making that. So that shows that these fans know what you're thinking. You've become predictable. The English soccer players, they've become predictable. People know what they're going to do. People who comply are very predictable, very docile, timid people. And usually when you point that out, people get angry, right? So let's watch again.
Pretty unpleasant scenes early on here at Wembley. You can see the banner amongst the Hungarian fans saying no to taking the knee, that just before kickoff. And then a few minutes into the game, this happened down to our right in the Hungarian end. Some of the police using their batons and then punches being thrown by the Hungarians. And it lasted a couple of moments, a couple of minutes really, and then it appeared as if the police were retreating down the stairwell. Now there were reports before the game there were going to be more police on duty here this evening, but the fact that the police retreated in the way they did does beg the question.
So I have no idea why the initial hits were levied. All I know is that it occurred in the same stand at the same time as the kneeling took place, and the banner of the no kneeling sign was unfurled. Okay, could all be coincidence, couldn't it? But I often find in the culture war that there are too many coincidences for it to be a coincidence. Okay. Tinfoil hat moment for a second, but in my opinion, I'm just giving you my tinfoil hat opinion here. You know, it's all about optics. No matter if it's Britain, United States, Canada, Australia, society's become about optics because things are so bad. The powers that be generally have no interest whatsoever in fixing them, so instead they focus all their energy on either trying to silence the people questioning it, or to put together a situation where the mainstream media could say, oh, look at those thuggish people. Oh, look at those thugs. Look what they're doing. You know, don't take after them. Don't believe their opinions. Don't listen to them. Look what they did. And I've seen that type of thing personally more than once. But that's my own opinion. Rather tinfoil hattish. And I'm happy with that. Anyway, we've got one more clip which kind of goes over the events, so we'll watch that now. So this is in reaction to it. This is Good Morning Britain, the sports section. I haven't owned a TV since 2012, but I'm aware of what this program is. It's been around for a long time, and it's as mainstream media-y, as a wokey as it gets, as you can probably imagine. Imagine the most wokish thing you can think of, and that's Good Morning Britain.
And the statement is about the incidents at the England Hungary game at Wembley last night, and also the Albania Poland game. There was trouble at that game as well, in the same group as England. And the statement says FIFA is currently analysing reports of last night's World Cup qualifier matches in order to determine the most appropriate action. FIFA strongly condemns the incidents at England versus Hungary and Albania versus Poland, and would like to state that its position remains firm and resolute in rejecting any form of violence as well as any form of discrimination or abuse. FIFA has...
And there it is. There it is. Who was being discriminated against? If you have the right, as an overpaid footballer, to take the knee, as this is what they say. They say, "Oh, you know, we're not actually bending the knee. We're not surrendering to any ideology. We're just expressing ourselves." Well, if you can do that, then the fans can as well. If you can express yourself by taking the knee, I can express myself by saying that I disagree with bending the knee. You can sit there and say, oh, it's only figurative, but it's not. To bend the knee has connotations. It has historical and social connotations. Bending the knee means to surrender to one. It means to surrender. That's what bending the knee is. You bend the knee to me. Do you think that, I don't know, take an African American basketball team, for example, any team. Do you think that they would bend the knee to Winston Churchill, right, for all the sacrifices he made, fighting the genuine, the men from Germany, 1940s. Can't say the word, of course, with it being YouTube, but Churchill actually fought them. Would you bend the knee to him? Of course they wouldn't. They would say, "Oh, I'm never doing that." So, it's that their opinions, they flip 180, depending on who it is, what it is, when it is, and why it is. They don't actually have any principles. And by they, I mean the woke left. I don't mean African American basketball teams.
Has a very clear zero tolerance stance against such abhorrent behaviour in football.
Abhorrent behaviour? So, what the police officers striking someone with a baton. A baton can do serious damage. You've got to want to hit someone in a situation like that to do that. Would that come under it? Would that be included? I would love to know. I want to know. I want to understand. Because if you hit someone with a baton, especially if they're like, a Hungarian, quite a hardy type of people, they're not just going to stand there. They shouldn't be expected to.
So that is quite a strong statement from FIFA, actually. Normally what we get from FIFA is we're looking into it, we're waiting for the report from the match officials, but this is actually a strong statement saying that FIFA strongly condemns it and saying again that they have a zero tolerance approach when it comes to this kind of behaviour. A lot of people in football will be saying it's okay to talk tough, but we need tougher punishments. That's what a lot of the England players were saying to me last night after the game when I was interviewing.
See, that is very telling, isn't it? A lot of the England players, the people who bent the knee, say they want tougher punishments on the people who pay overpriced tickets, who travel on a plane hundreds, maybe thousands of miles to support their team. These guys don't have a lot of money. The players themselves are rolling in money, cars, women, everything, success, fame, fortune. And you have to punish those guys because they're daring to question us when we take the knee every single game, even though they know that the fans don't want it, but they look down on the fans. This is why I'm not a football/soccer fan. I'm not a sports fan in general, really. I do like to watch combat sports, boxing, mixed martial arts, that type of thing. I like the Olympics as long as it's not woke, but football in particular I despise. Not because it's a game where people kick a leather ball around, but because of the people themselves. They've made it something I dislike. So he interviewed the England players, and the England players themselves are saying, there needs to be tougher punishments. What do you mean punishments? What do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Punishment? You kick an inflated leather sack around a field with 10 of your other mates, all overpaid as well. And what? You're a person of importance, are you? I don't think you are. What do you mean punishment? Who are you going to punish? How are you going to punish them?
They were saying it's all well and good fining the Hungarian Football Association, for instance, or other football federations.
If I was the Hungarian Football Federation / Association, I wouldn't pay it. I'd say go to hell. Principles are more important than kicking a leather sack around a field.
It's fine just to close the stadium for a couple of games, but that doesn't actually deal with the problem. And it was a problem that we saw again at Wembley last night, unfortunately.
That's the end of the clip. So, look, what do you think about this? You have to understand that when you take the knee, you are provoking the crowd. Really, if you really care so much about it, you would know. You should know. Nobody likes this. You can say what you like, but nobody likes it for a reason. For a reason. The people you are bending the knee to are not angels. We saw what they did, Minneapolis, Kenosha, London, what they did to our war memorial. We actually had to cover it up. Winston Churchill, who actually fought the German men from the 1930s and 40s, stood alone. Britain stood alone for a long time. His memorial was defaced by the people who the national team bend the knee to. And you wonder why people are upset about that. And then when they hold up a banner saying no to taking the knee, you get the state, what essentially is the state forces, to hit them about the head with batons. And then you make sanctimonious statements about the Football Association strongly condemns. Well, the people, the British people, the Hungarian people, the American people strongly condemn. Who cares what a pompous football association condemns? What about the people? What about the fans? You wouldn't have a football association if it wasn't for the fans. You know? I just don't get this obsession with football. When I look at the working class men, you know, most of them love football, and when I was younger I wish I could be like that, you know, like a Jack the Lad type of guy. But now I'm glad I didn't get into that. I'm happy that I didn't put on a pedestal people who take the knee to the likes of you know who, Mr. Floyd, and the other Mr. Floyd-esque type people. It's just not for me. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.